Well, he loves us, he loves all of us, or he understands all of us?
He loves us. I just wanted to say a small thing because this is something that's negay for everyone, and of course while we're learning we love to theorize and we go into a state of spirituality, but of course we have to take all that knowledge and into the Olam HaMasa. I saw interessante Zach that there was a debate between one of the Gedolim and a guy who said to the Gadol, why do you believe that the Jews are better than the Goyim? So he said, well, that's a simple one. The Jews don't speak nivel peh. They learn, they daven, they do mitzvahs. So the guy says, okay, I agree with you on that, but what is the ikar asik all day that we do every day? The ikar is in parnasa, in making a living. It says there the Jews are shrewd. They're always looking to undermine their competition. So there I say that the Jews are worse than the Goyim. So he's answered why it's not like that, but then he said that Shabbos techiach, because Shabbos Ayei completely disconnects from parnasa. There's no guy could do that, and therefore even in the inyan of parnasa, Ayei has the upper hand. He's able to disconnect from it, even though while he's in it, it's very hard, it's very difficult. He uses all his talents and all his things to make a dollar, but he's able to disconnect from it. So I'm bringing the story because being that making a living does take up so much of our time and so much of our efforts and emotion and all that, and even talent and everything, just to be able to make a simple living. So therefore, let's bring the Eitz of Ayei into that. And when I was learning the Torah, the Rebbe says, where do we learn the inyan of Ayei Mekayim Kavod? We learn it from Yitzchak Avinu by the Akedah. And what happened? They were going to Hara Maria, and Avraham Avinu takes the knife, he takes the tools to make the fire, and he puts the branches on Yitzchak's back. He says, okay, let's go. So they're going, and Yitzchak is thinking, hey, there's the fire, there's the wood, where's the sheep, where's the lamb? Now, he might have even thought, hey, maybe I'm the lamb. So what did he say? So what did he say? He said, Ayei hasel oila. He realized that he needs a big Yeshua over here. And the truth is that the Sfarim say that all the time, literally the whole time, even though Avraham Avinu was totally intent to be Mekayim, what Hashem said, to be Makir B'Son, but he didn't stop to be mispalel that Hashem should do something to take away this Gezerah, because in Avraham Avinu's mind, this was a terrible Gezerah. Because he knew, he knew that the whole asad of Klal Yisrael, the whole hope that there's going to be a nation that's going to serve Hashem and whatever Klal Yisrael stands for, and all that Hashem wants to do with us is all if Yitzchak is alive and he gets married and he has children. But if I shech them, it's gone. It was literally a similar Nisayan to what Moshe Rabbeinu, when he heard that Hashem says I'm going to wipe out Klal Yisrael by the Chayt Egel. What did he say? Im ayin, if you don't listen to me, if you don't hear my tefillah to spare Klal Yisrael, machenu Nichsefo, wipe me out of your sefer. And literally, which is a huge Mesiras Nefesh, it's a Mesiras Nefesh that he was willing, and the Svarim say, spiritually and physically, to be completely wiped off, like if we say Amalek, it's Tim Chazecha Amalek. Moshe said, do this to me, wipe me completely out. Avraham Avinu was going through a similar sign. Hashem said, Shecht your son. If there's no son, if there's no Hamshech, there's no Asid, what are we going to do? And Avraham was so devoted to Hashem. He said, I found your heart to be completely getrai. How do you say getrai? Completely loyal to Hashem. That he had no ulterior motive. He did it only completely for Hashem, even though he was literally wiping himself out. If Yitzchak would have been shechted, nobody would remember that there's a Avraham Avinu. There would be nothing left out of him at all. So he was mispal the whole time, tremendous tefillas the whole time that Hashem should spare Yitzchak. And Yitzchak also felt that something is happening here. Maybe he had an intuition, or whatever it was. He asked, Ayei hasel oilov, where's this lamb that's supposed to be my pidyon, that's supposed to be instead of me? And we can take this concept as a digma, an example of every time that a person is in a matzav in a sayin, where he feels that there is a kitrug on him, there's a midas hadin on him, something is not working out, and especially in parnasa, where it's the sayin is constant. There's always an asayin. We think that when a person is wealthy that there's no nasayin parnasa. There's definitely nasayin parnasa. I do mortgages, so I help even very wealthy people do mortgages. And believe me, they have situations where they need that loan. If not, who knows what, right? So in every matzav that a person is, in every level in the financial ladder that he is in, he'll have that sign of parnasa. And he's going to wonder, where is it? Where is this parnasa? Where is Hashem? Is Hashem going to help me? Can I rely on Hashem? Can I have bitachon that Hashem is going to help me get over this difficult time and give me the parnasa that I need?
Does the Talmud Chacham also have that? Haven't they gotten over that if they're a Talmud Chacham?
Well, a Talmud Chacham needs to support his family. He needs to help his family.
Doesn't it say that in the Torah that you won't have to deal with the government, you won't have to deal with work if you're
It's true. The Mishnah says that about a person that's mekabel on himself the oil malchus and oil derech eretz. But there's different levels. We do see certain gedolim. Let's say Reb Chaim Kanievsky, after a certain period where he became well known as a gadol HaTorah, I'm sure he didn't have any parnasa issues because wealthy people felt very privileged to help him.
Because Hashem already provided.
I'm saying all bashgacha, right? I'm just saying how it looks to us in our eyes. But even, let's say a person like Reb Chaim, do you think he didn't have worries that, let's say, many people came to him, or even institutions came to him for help because they knew that he had connections with it, and he carried that on his heart. It was a load. It was a heavy load on him. And yeah, he would think, okay, do I have to reach out to so-and-so to help me help this other person or not? Because he carried the burden of others. But again, the Nisayon of Parnasa, I'll get to that in a minute because I don't want to veer off the path of here. Let's talk about us regular people that we have the Nisayon. So what's the Eitzah? Now we're conditioned. The way we're taught in the financial world is that we have to find a way to overcome the hurdle and make it that the income should go like on its own. So yeah, there's the stage where you work like a dog, like a horse, like a donkey, and then you get others to do, you delegate, and then your business goes automatically. Like it's already, this comes in, they take care of it, the income comes in, and it goes like a system. This is how they all think. But Reb Nosson says that it's not like that. The Nisayon of Parnasa is built into the Teva, that you can never ever overcome that. And there's a purpose for that. And the purpose is that a Yid should constantly look towards Hashem. I heard a very nice mashal. My son learned in yeshiva years ago, and he said to his Rosh Yeshiva that in the beginning of his man he had a cheshik to learn, but now all of a sudden he doesn't have a cheshik anymore. So what should he do? So the Rosh Yeshiva said there was once father and mother, they went for a vacation. So they told the children that they're going out for a few days. Here's the telephone number just in case, emergency. So the children decided that, you know, the parents work so hard, we're not gonna call them. We're gonna give them a true break. Next day, the bacher wakes up in the morning. He wants to take out a pair of pants from his drawer, and it's empty. Okay, so he starts looking around all over the house. He cannot find anything. So he said, okay, he has to get to yeshiva. He has no choice. He has to call his father. What happened? Where's the pants? So he calls his father. So he says, oh, I'm so happy you called me. I really missed you, father says. So he says, yeah, the son starts excusing himself. I really didn't want to disturb your vacation. Oh. So his father said, no, you're not disturbing. Actually, I have such pleasure speaking to you. So how could I help you? So his son says, well, I can't find my pants. So his father says, you know why you can't find your pants? Because I hid it. I said, Dad, why do you do that? So he says, because I knew that if I'm not going to hide your pants, you're not going to call me, and I really wanted to hear your voice. So I hid it so that you should call me. And that's why HaKadosh Baruch Hu built into Teva that the Parnasa should always be an Nisayon, because the Yid always should have to look towards Hashem for sustenance. And we know that when is the biggest time, the strongest time that a baby bonds with a mother, or even later on with a father, is when they feed the baby. That's what's so important. The mother should feed the baby, and the father, even later when the father feeds the baby food and all that, that's the time where the child is getting its sustenance, and it sees that who is giving me the sustenance? It's my father, it's my mother. It's a tremendous bonding over there, where the child bonds with the parents. The same thing is with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. When Hashem gives us Parnasa, that's the time that we can bond with Him. But it's a little different because we don't see Hashem. There's always all these different sibas and all the different ways of how Hashem, with Hashgacha Pratis, brings about our Parnasa, through this business, through that deal, through this referral and all that. So we can make the mistake and think it's not Hashem. So Hashem hides the Parnasa. He makes that there should be a difficulty, and then all of a sudden, who can I turn to? Oh, Hashem. Hashem says, oh, I was waiting. Hashmiinias koilach, harinas marayach. I was waiting for you to hear from you. Oh, Baruch Hashem. Now you're looking towards me. Yes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you your Parnasa. I'm going to help you have what you need. So the concept of Ayei is that I'm looking for a Yeshua. And specifically in Parnasa, I need my Parnasa. I need that help. I need to be able to cover my monthly expenses, and I have all these debts that I have to pay. Where is that going to come from? And I say, you know what? Even though it's so hidden, because I can't see where Hashem is going to help me, but I know that it comes from Hashem. I know that Hashem is the one that helped me all throughout the years, and He's going to help me now. So I'm going to look towards Hashem, and I'm going to say, Hashem, where's the Parnasa? Where's that? How am I going to make it through the month? I'm looking towards you. I'm looking at you. I'm hoping that you're going to help me. And that's where Ayei comes into that thing, and that's what makes us tremendously close to Hashem. Now I'm going to read a little piece from LIKUTEY Luchos, and it says like this. Ki be'inyan hamshachas hashefa v'haparnasa shenimsha v'b'chinas hamamar asasim. In the inyan of being mamshech shefa and parnasa, that comes from the mamar asasim, which he explained earlier, that parnasa comes from a very, very high place. The spiritual aspect of parnasa is very, very, very high place. It comes from the mamar hasasim. It's the highest mamar. From the 10 mamar and mamar asasim is the highest mamar. That's where parnasa comes from. And it's not it's not for naught that the parnasa comes to such a high place. It's because that's where the kesher of the Yid and Hashem gets knotted, and because the Yid and Hashem's kesher is such a high place, the parnasa that's the knot between us and Hashem, the shefa that gives us chiyus, that gives us sustenance, is what knots us to, ties us to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Is that's why it's in a very, very high place. So Sham Ikah HaNisyonos Shel Adam. So he says that's why there's tremendous nisyonos. But because the shefa comes from such a high place, from the Mamar Asasim, which is so hidden, the shefa parnasa is very hidden. Where is it going to come? Every day I have the same question. Am I going to be matzliach? Am I going to succeed? Is the deal going to go through? It's sasim. And that's the Nasayin. And this is why by the man it says L'man anasenim, giving you the man to test you. Hashem brings shefa and parnasa to everyone. But here, this is the Yisod. You have to hear this. That every person's shefa, every person's parnasa comes from Hashem, built in that it should come with an assign. It should always be some doubt, or it should be hidden, where I don't know, how am I going to get it, where is it going to come from. And the ikar siba, reason why Hashem does it, is Hashem, why are you doing this to me? Why are you making it so hard? You know, why am I have to be so frustrated? The ikar reason is that he should constantly have to look up towards Hashem as Hashem. I need you. I have to cover this bill. So he should always look up towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu. B'chol pam shechassalai panasa. Ki ein shum eitz achers b'olam. Now Nosson is going to save us tens of thousands of dollars that we don't have to spend on all these business gurus and coaches and who knows what. Because he says that this is the whole eitzah. This is the ikar eitzah of how to be mamshech parnasa. The hainu sheyelich b'derech hanal. Sheyechapes v'yevakes as Hashem Yisbarach tomet apilim and v'koyim v'zerach choikim. You should constantly search for Hashem, even in the far out places where Hashem is so hidden. And in B'negei Parnasa is when it's hidden from me that Hashem is being mamshech my Parnasa. When I don't feel it and I don't see it, to search and to make, to state out loud and clear that no, Hashem is the source of my parnasa.
But aren't there many people who believe this, truly believe this, and therefore it's really not such a Nisayan?
Again? What?
Aren't there many people, or at least some people, who truly believe what you're saying? They believe that Hashem is providing, and that Hashem does provide. And therefore, because they believe it, and they don't have such a Nisayan, aren't there such people like that?
Absolutely, a person could get to that level, but according to what I see in my life, so I don't see this as a contradiction in my situation, but could be there are others that would find this to be as a kasha, like you're asking. But I believe that my parnasa comes from Hashem, but still there are times where I'm like stumped. Like, how am I gonna do this? How's this gonna happen? How am I gonna cover this bill? I just don't know. And then I have to strengthen myself and chazer over the emunah that I have, and I say, yes, you know what? It's Hashem. Hashem is going to help, and Hashem is going to
Can you say
pull through.
rich people have the same thing? I mean,
Absolutely.
they know what their needs are going to be for the next 1,000 years. They have enough money
but
for 2,000 years, and that's probably 10% of the public of Jews here. And they're concerned about this?
Yes, because they're yesh leimana roitzim asayim, and because of that, when if a person has $1 million in his account, he wants 10. So he starts investing his money, and then all of a sudden he hears some bad news that the investment wasn't that great, and then he says, I was by a person that he invested $5 million. I went collecting, and the year before he gave a very nice donation, and that year he says, I just lost the bulk of my assets. I invested $5 million in this day. But they're happening all the time because
we know that they're concerned, just like we are. Why they are, I'm not sure.
I don't really know that.
Have you seen rich people that are calm with all their money?
I've met a person that's worried.
Yes.
Even Elon Musk when he bought when he bought Twitter, you didn't think he had the jitters for a few months?
I won't mention the fellow's name.
They thought he overpaid for it. He thought, they accepted the offer.
I know a guy who has a business, and then he got it all running. Then he went on to his next business, and that's all running. And he told me, from his mouth, I won't mention his name, but he told me he set himself up with 20 different businesses. They're all running, all 20. And they all produce a lot of money. And I don't see this guy worrying.
Okay, listen, there's a famous story
he doesn't admit to worrying.
There's a famous story that there was a Gevir that set himself up like that. He said, I have nothing to worry about because I have assets on all continents and from all different types of businesses.
But he's not
even
saying
if
that Hashem, but he's not like a big shot and thinks that Hashem is not there. He believes that Hashem is there.
I understand, but I'm just, this person said, look, I'm okay. You know, nothing can really happen to me. I'm diversified. I'm totally protected and all that. And what happened was, and this is going back in the times where there were monarchs. So the king, for whatever reason, there was someone said something bad against him. So the king had him write over all his the things that he owns to the church, and he, in 1 second, with one signature, he lost everything. So yeah, it could be that for a while he was going around feeling, I'm set and I'm not worried, but that doesn't mean that nothing can happen.
Of course
and
it can happen.
Something can happen.
But
So Khalil Chaz Shalom, I'm saying that the Nisayon of Parnasa is built into it because Parnasa comes from such a place that is hidden, and that's why there's always going to be something that could happen. But ask that person, ask him, are there any times that you have any worries that something is not going right, or that there has to be? It's all, I mean, if you read the Ami magazine, they have the business section, they speak always to the entrepreneurs. First, one of the questions he always asks them, how do they deal with stress? And they all have stress. Even the most successful guys. They just deal with it differently. But they have ways how to deal with it.
It's stress to read the magazine.
But Al Kapana Rav Nosson teaches us the Eitzah. It's really what you're saying, but he's telling it to us that we're not yet there by that Madrega. We're not yet on the level that we have it so built into our psyche that we automatically rely on HaKadosh Baruch Hu to the point where we never ever worry. We're not yet there. So Rav Nosson says you just have to do this again and again. Practice.
Are we talking about Amunah, or are we talking about talking to Hashem?
We're talking this.
Hashem was there in voice.
Okay, so there's all different types of things that this brings a person. There are going to be a bunch of different things that happen when a person searches for Hashem. Here, the Eitzah is bedafka. If you want to pinpoint the Eitzah, is to search for Hashem. Meaning that right now I'm at a point that I don't feel Hashem is helping me. I feel like I'm in an assignment. So I'm going to search for Hashem. I know that He's there. I know that He's going to help me. I know He's helped me before. I'm going to look for Him. I'm going to say, Ayei, Hashem, where are you? I know you're here. Just reveal yourself to me. That's the Eitzah. This will bring that a person will start davening more. He will have more amunah. He will have more betachon. And as Ramasan ends off the piece, Ka'az Yiska Shiyarloi Misham Ki Kol Tiv Nimshach Misham. Oh, one second. Ha'ara Misham, he'll get a light, spiritual light from that place, from the Mamar Sasam. Umemela Yeh Nimshach Loi Parnasa V'Shefa Gadol Misham. If a person is going to do this again and again, constantly always searching for Hashem when he has an assignment, then he's going to get a big shefa parnasa. Ki kol tiv nimshach Hashem, because anything good comes from there. Ve'ikra al yidei hadrisha v'habakasha v'achipus kanal, through the searching and the looking and the I don't know how to say all three lashonos over here, is v'doisha Hashem lo yachzir kol tov. A person that searches for Hashem will never have anything. Won't have any chesaron, that won't be nesmala.
What was that?
Won't have a chesaron. Won't have
Will never be lacking.
Won't be lacking if he's
goodness,
now again. I heard this b'shem Rebbe Yashiv. Someone asked them, I want to sit and learn. This is what Reb Shmuel mentioned here. I want to be makabel on myself the Ol Torah. And it says clearly, "Hamakabel of Ol Torah, Mavir Meni Ol Malchus Ol Derech." Take away the Ol Malchus, which is governmental things, and Ol Derech is parnasa. Can I do that? Because I know that there's going to be nisyanis. So he said like this. He said that absolutely Hakadosh Baruch Hu is going to give you parnasa, but you're not going to know where it's going to come from, and it's not going to come when you think you want to have it. You're going to have to wait, and it's going to have to think, and there's going to be times where you're going to be, in Yiddish there's a saying, with the tzing in the rosin, with the tongue out, like you're chalishing me. But if you're makabeling yourself the altar, ultimately Hashem is going to provide for you. Why it has to be that way? Certain times, certain errors, certain people, according to their Sharish Neshama, have to go through the Messiah on a more difficult level to bring out the ultimate spiritual koiches that he has. But of course, this is Hashem measures that. How much of an assignment does he have to have? How long does he have to wait? When does he get set for life? Understand? But yes, if a person is strong and he says, I'm going to go, this is my derech of life, then yeah, absolutely. And again, also a person that has betachon, sometimes he has to, there's a big shmooze on that, of how much betachon and when to have betachon. I'm just saying here is this is a lot simpler. Why? Because betachon is everybody according to his level, so you can speak a million levels of betachon. It's so unique to every person. But this is across the board. A person, whenever he has an assigned parnasa, should know that parnasa comes from Hashem. And that means if I'm having now an assignment and I'm struggling with it, that Hashem is hidden from me. And my job now is to search for him. To believe that he's there and to search for him. And ultimately, what happens, when it happens, that's all up to Hashem. But what my job is my mitzvah, my avodah is, my work is to search for Hashem. For Hashem, I know you're there, I know you provide for me, I'm just looking for it. I want to see you, I want to see it clear. And then you'll see, when a person does this all the time, all of a sudden different things will automatically happen. His davening will be more sincere. He'll have more amunah. He'll have more betachon. All this is offshoots from this avodah, constantly searching for Hashem. And this is the point that I want to bring. I don't know where we're holding. What time is it? But
10 minutes.
So we'll stick to this. The inyan of the being makabel ol malchus, the ol Torah, to be maver the old Derech Eretz is, of course, if Chazal tell us that, but there's obviously many levels of being a Kabul Ol Torah. There's many levels to that. So, you know, if a person is Makabel so much old things, that's how much they're maver from him. There were Tanaim. The Gemara famously says that there was a Machlekes Reb Shimon ben Gamliel and Reb Shimon bar Yochai. Reb Shimon bar Yochai said, if a person is busy with Parnasa, how is he ever going to learn Torah? He's every day that he's going to be busy. He's Torah matahayala. So he has to leave it all behind and totally devote himself to the Torah. Then Reb Shimon ben Gamliel said, no, Hanig b'zeh derech eretz. Go normal, the middle way. We'll do a Ayei Parnasa, but you'll set aside time for learning. So the Gemara said, Harba asuk Reb Shimon bar Yochai v'lo also b'yodam. Many tried the derech of Reb Shimon bar Yochai, and it didn't work out for them. But Harba asuk Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, but also b'yodam, and it did work out for them. So we see that, I mean, you can ask it at Akasha, but I'm just going to say, I understand from this is that Hashem, the way He created the world, is that most people should really do Torah im derech. They should, right? Because the Gemara says, by learning and working, those two things will help you be Erlich Yid and not do Averis. Most people have to do it that way. And why? It's because this Hashem wanted. I can't pinpoint and say exactly why this was the Ratzon Hashem, but what I could say is that the Parnasa should not take a person away from Hashem. It should be a tool of how to constantly be with Hashem. And then when he learns, he could always add to the amount that he learns. He can always increase the Kabul Ol Torah. But Al Kapanim, most people were wired this way, that they need to do both. And that's why Hashem made it, that it should work out, that when you do it the way, according to what you have to do it, the way you have to do it, it should work out, and not the other way around. Al Kapanim, I just thought that it gave me a lot of chizik, and I think that this is something that a person could take away from this Torah. And after all the weeks that we were screaming Ayei, I think this was something that's very down to earth. It's very applicable to everybody. And Be'ez Hashem, I saw a very nice story that brings out Reb Shmuel's Zach. There was a Yid that he had a koilin in Eretz Yisrael, and everybody was wondering about this koilin because he never had to go collecting for the koilin. He never had to do it. The money always came in, and he had enough to pay everybody, and was like, so someone asked him, come on, tell me the secret. Every Rosh Koilel knows that you have to go out to Chutzlar, you have to collect, you have to clap, knock on doors, it doesn't go like that. What happened? So he says, I'll tell you what happened. It's mamash an amazing story. He said that my mother lives in Tzfas. She has this, his mother lived in Tzfas, and she has a tiny apartment, and when his family grew bigger, 5, 6 kids, it was very hard for him to visit. And he was obviously very busy and things. Anyways, one Thursday, the mother says, you have to come to me for Shabbos. And he says, Ma, it's very hard, to cram into the apartment and all that. And then I have to bring with, And then he had a seder that if he would come home much of Shabbos very late, it's going to ruin his whole week because he's hardly going to sleep and all that. He gets it, but she says, no, I'm not Mavata, you have to come. Once in a blue moon, you must come. So he said, okay, fine. So he got his family together, they pack into the car, and they're traveling thing. In the meantime, the mother calls him up and says, guess what? I had a big siyata d'shmaim, next door neighbor is not here for Shabbos, so we have their apartment, guys can move in, it's going to be harchava, okay, amazing. That's the first good thing that started happening. Anyways, after Shabbos, he's traveling home, And all of a sudden, he notices that the gas empty light turns on. Uh-oh. He remembered that 15 minutes ago he passed the gas station. He's thinking, you know, maybe I can still make it to the other gas station, to the next one. So he travels another 6 miles and the car dies. And what is he going to do? He already traveled further there, so where does he go? Back, forward? He doesn't even know. So he said, you know what? I have to start. So he starts walking. And after 10 minutes of walking, a guy stops for him. He looked like more of a sorti type of a guy. Not he was Haredi, and this guy was sorti, you know, more modern. And the guy says, how can I help you? So he said to him that I have a problem. My car down the road is without gas. He says, okay, no problem, I'll take you. So he's sitting in a nice car, and they're traveling and they're schmoozing, and he's telling him about how he got there, Shabbos. And anyway, so they come to the gas station, and the guy actually had a can that he could use to fill up with gas. So he goes and he looks at the booth over there, and then turns around and goes back to the car. So he says, I really feel bad, but I can't get gas from this gas station. So the guy says, why not? So, I feel uncomfortable telling you this. He says, no, tell me, I want to hear, I'm curious. But because it says here, open on Shabbos, and I don't want to buy. So he said, you know what, I'll take you to the next gas station if you tell me why you don't want to buy from a person that's open on Shabbos. Who cares, it's gas. He says, okay. So he takes him into the car and says, I'll tell you why. He says, imagine a boy gets engaged to a girl. She's the kala, and she gets a beautiful diamond ring from her mother-in-law, right, as a gift, an engagement gift. And at the chasana, in the yichud room, she takes the ring, she throws it on the floor and steps, and says, this is disgusting, it's horrible, I hate this ring. Because what would you say to this girl? He says, I wouldn't want to look her in the face anymore. It's horrible. So he said, Hashem gave us the gift of Shabbos, and you put a placard that I work on Shabbos? That's mamish like stepping on the diamond ring that Hashem gave us. I couldn't buy from that person gas. He said, okay, excellent. I hear what you're saying. So they go to the next station, and he gets the gas, and they travel back to the car, and they traded numbers. In the beginning, they called each other, but then after a few years, he didn't hear from him. This guy calls him up out of the blue, and he says to him, listen, I have a predicament. He says, what's the predicament? It's my father was a war survivor. He came here to Israel penniless, but he had mazel, and he became very wealthy, but he went off the derech, and he was fry. But at the end of his life, he had a lot of charata that he went off the derech, and he cried a lot and things. So he said, Abba, what can I do for you to make it up for you that you know something? So he said, when I pass away, take a chunk of the money and have truly Erlich Yidin learn from my neshama. So when my father passed away, and after we finished with all the whole Yerusha, the whole inheritance, I decided, who am I going to go to do this? I went to Smedish. I don't know anybody from Beans. I see all these Charedim, they all look the same to me. But then I remembered you, and I remember what you told me. He says, such a guy, I could trust. He says, I want you to open a koilul, and it's all on my cheshbon. I'm gonna support that koilul fully. It should be Le'ilish was my father, and that's how he had the koilul with fully focused. What has to do is he says Hamakabel old Torah.
He did something for his mother. He got money to
but I'm saying that he said he couldn't take the gas from a Yid that was over on Chil Shabbos because he had that closeness to Hashem, that he felt that how can I take something from someone that's spitting Hashem in the face. A Yid that lives with Ayei, that's always looking for Hashem, he has that closeness to Hashem, that feels these type of erlich hergeshim in his heart, and that's how Hashem takes care of him. So we can say that this has to do with that type of a thing. But again, yeah, it's how close we feel to Hashem, that's how we're going to react in different situations. And in the Messiah Parnasa, the Yid says, you know, I'm going to go to my father. Tata, you help me.
Ayei.